This conference will now be recorded.
What is SAS? What is SAS? Storage access. So, storage access? Signature. Absolutely wrong. What is SAS? Shared signature. Shared access signature. Okay. Why we use access keys and why we use shared access signature? Access keys gives full access. Shared access is restricted access. Restricted permissions. Okay. Restricted access. Can we host a static website on a storage account? Yes. How? Go to static website and enable the static website. Okay. Once you have enabled, by default it is going to generate a container for you. What is the name of the container? Dollar web. So there you need to have your static files to be hosted. What is the difference between static website and the normal website? Static website gives only the .html. Not only .html, like which do not require server-side scripting. Only client-side scripting can be supported in static website. If you want to support for server-side scripting, then you need to go for app services. Okay. So we have seen storage accounts. Now, what we will do is now today we are going to discuss about one more topic. So just click on new, don't save it. So today we will be discussing about that thing practically, so theoretically, because if I try to create that resource, the resource itself will take 40 minutes to create. 40 minutes the creation time itself will take. So we will create that today and tomorrow we will see that practically. Okay. Let's consider a scenario. So the thing that we are going to discuss is there are three different concepts in networking. Three different networking concepts. You know already how to create an IP address and what is subnet and what is NSG. Okay. NSG stands for Network Security Group. What is contained in the NSG? Inbound and outbound port rules. Okay. So now we are going to discuss about the first one, like that is point to site. This we call it as P2S. There is a second concept that is called site to site. We call it as S to S. There is a third concept called as site to site, and express route. These are the three networking concepts. First, let's go to point to site. Now, consider a scenario. You are working in an office called HCL. Daily, you used to go to office. There, you used to connect your laptop to the network. Which network? Office network. Okay. When you are inside the like you worked in the office and you came back to the home again. Again, you want to work on applications. You want to work on some application. Are you in the office network? No. Is it possible for you to open the office application? No. At that time, what you do? In your laptop, they will be installing a VPN. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. What are you doing? You are simply connecting to that office network by using VPN. So once your laptop is connected to the VPN, so that you are already inside the office network, then you can work on office applications, right? If some of my clients wants to connect to Azure Virtual Network, then I can go with point to site connectivity. Actually, where is my network right now? Like where I'm creating all my resources right now in Azure. In Azure, by using the private network, that means VNet. By using the VNet, I'm creating all the resources. Some of my clients wants to connect to the Azure network, like means the VNet. They want to connect to the VNet. Then I can go with the point to site connectivity. Only some of the clients. This is one file. Out of 100 people, only 10 people wants to connect to the Azure virtual network. Then I can make it as a point to site connectivity. Let's discuss about site to site. You are having an office like HCL as an office. Your complete office, like a complete on premises. That means the office wants to have a connectivity with Azure network. Your complete office network wants to have a connectivity with Azure network. Then that is site to site. Then let's discuss about the third thing, express route. What do you mean by express route? So this means like where is your VNet? It is in Azure. How are you connecting to the VNet? By through the public internet. I don't want to go with the public internet. I want to go through only the private network. That means what is the internet service provider that I have right now? Hathway. I need to call to the Hathway person. So whatever the communication that I want to do, everything should not be available to the public. I need a specific line. So give me a private link for me. I will use this link to connect to only to Azure. In that, the third one is very large step. Like you need to connect with the internet service provider, and you need to ask them to create a private separate line for you to communicate with the Azure network. So this is a very big process. Nobody is going to use as of now. Let's talk site to site. If your complete on-premises wants to have a connectivity with Azure network, then it is site to site. What is point to site? If only few of your clients wants to connect with Azure network, then it is point to site. In point to site, what do you understand? A VPN. Understood? A VPN. So first, let's discuss about the point to site. I'll show you the documentation. So point to site VPN Azure. So about point to site VPN connectivity Azure. It is a secure connection to your VNet from individual client computer. Understood. Only for some of the clients wants to connect to Azure network. Then that is point to site. And the point to site setup is going to start from the client computer itself because he is the one he needs to install the VPN and he needs to connect to it. Okay. In which scenarios you are going to use? As of now, everybody is doing work from home, right? So how they are connecting to the office network? By using VPN. See, this solution is useful for telecommuters who wants to connect to Azure VNet from a remote location, such as from home or conference. Like P2S VPN is always useful solution to use instead of site to site when you have only few clients. Okay, let's consider I have 100 people. In that 100 people, only 10 people wants to connect to Azure VNet through a private way. Then I will suggest them to go with point to site. Let's take another example. My complete office network wants to have a connectivity with Azure network. Then for my office network, there will be a range, right? 172.168.0 by 16. The complete range of people wants to have a connectivity with Azure network. Then they will go with site to site. And to set up this, how we can do this? So I will show you the process also. So you need some documentation to prepare for it, right? Like when you are practicing, point to site, point to site. Like we have a different documentation for it, and I was just trying Azure and on-premises point to site connectivity in Azure. So there is a documentation which the person has given it very easily. Point to site VPN, tech community. See this. They have given all this process. So I will explain you what you need to do. So first, if the client wants to connect it to your virtual network, first, what are the resources that you should be having in the Azure? Let's see. This is your Azure, right? In the Azure, you should have a VNet so that the client computer will be able to connect to the VNet. Okay. Let's take a scenario. This is Azure, and this is your laptop, and you are trying to directly connect from your laptop to this VNet through where? Through public internet. Whether it directly allows you? No. So in between we have another service called VNet Gateway. So if I want to access, if I want to go to this Azure network, I need to pass through this VNet gateway. Or if anything from the VNet wants to communicate with you, through the VNet gateway only it happens. Basically, what does this VNet gateway does? So this is called VNet gateway. Directly, you cannot expose your private network to the outside world. So I cannot expose this right to the outside world. So in front of it, I kept one more service. That service is called VNet gateway. So the request will go to the VNet gateway, and the VNet gateway will take it to the VNet. Understood? So same way, vice versa. From the VNet, it comes to the VNet gateway, and from the VNet gateway to the user. Okay. So first, let's discuss about the VNet gateway. What does a VNet gateway does? So So create a VNet gateway. Now we all have to do, like, we just need to create a VNet gateway, but we just want the definition, right? Without the definition, how can we create a VNet gateway in Azure? Simple. VNet gateway is a specific type of VNet gateway that is used to send the traffic between the Azure VNet and the on-premises location over the what public internet. So you cannot directly expose your private network. So that's why we kept one more service in front of it. So that is called VNet gateway. Basically, what it does, it will take the traffic and it will send it to the VNet through which network over the public internet. Now you understood why we use VNet gateway. Okay, so let's start creating the resources right now. I need to create a resource group, and inside the resource group, I need to have a VNet and then VNet gateway. So first, let's start creating the resource group. And the resource group is rg-p2s already exist. So I'm just going to give it as some other name, p2s vnet. I want to create it under west us3. Review and create this. I created a resource group. Now I want to include a virtual network inside this vnet. You're understanding it? Like, still you have any doubt? If some of the client wants to connect to the Azure network, then how can they connect? Through the VPN. How can we set that up? That is what the point. So to do that, we need to have understand this architecture. VNet gateways, virtual network gateways. Connect your on-premises networks to the Azure through site-to-site VPN, similar to point-to-site also. Simply, why we use VNet gateway? To send the traffic over the public internet in an encrypted way. So I want to create like first virtual network, right? Virtual network. I want to create it under P2S VNet. Name of the VNet, my VNet one. This is the VNet name. And IP addresses, okay, I want to start the IP addresses with this. And what is the subnet? This is the subnet, fine. I'm okay with the default IP address and subnet also. Now let's create it. So where is this? It is getting created right now. So we have the resource group, we have the VNet. Now we need to create a VNet gateway inside this also. Okay, let's check this. So even with the documentation, you can follow that. See, he has given all the steps starting from the scratch. First, he logged into the portal and he created a resource group called this one. We also created a resource group. And then he created a VNet. We also created a VNet with the IP addresses. And he's created one subnet. We also, by default, we have one subnet. Fine. And then he created a gateway subnet. Once we create the VNet, then we can create this. So we are stuck at this point. So let's wait for it. Yeah, this is completed. So this is the VNet. And if you go to the address space, so you can see the address space of my VNet. And if you go to the subnets, you can see the subnet as default subnet. And if you go to this documentation, what is the next step they are trying to say? Create a gateway subnet. But where can you create this? Under virtual networks. Okay, go here. You can create the gateway subnet here. So the gateway subnet is this, and I want to use the IP address range as this. Fine. Do not make any changes. Simply create the gateway. Simply create the gateway subnet. Okay. This is also fine. So we created this. So gateway subnet is also done. What is the next step? Once after creating the gateway subnet, create a VNet gateway. This itself will take somewhere around 40 minutes. Not 40 minutes, I think 25 to 30 minutes, not 40. 25 to 30 minutes it will take. So to create the VNet gateway, go back to the portal, virtual network gateways. Create it, and during the end of the class, if this is done, then it is fine for us. My VNet gateway. I want it to be created under West UL Street. What is the gateway type? VPN based as expressed out? I was saying VPN based. Okay. What is the VPN type? Is it a policy based or route based? Just go with the defaults. Do not change anything. Route based. What is the standards queue? What are these? When you are creating the VM, it is asked what is the OS type Windows. What is the specification? 3.5 GB RAM and 120 like 1 vCPU. For that VM, what is the size? DS1 V1. For 8 GB RAM, DS2 V2. Like the same way, we have different kind of SKUs for this VPN gateway. So just go with the default. If you want to spend some time on studying about what are the different kind of features that is included, you can spend it. But just go with the default as of now. Which generation you want to use? I'm going with the generation 2. Under which network you want me to create this VNet gateway? My P2S VNet. Yes. In that which subnet I want to use gateway subnet. By default it has taken, see this. I created this. My PTS VNet. I have a doubt. Yeah, this is the VNet. Okay. Do you want to create a public IP address to this? I will tell you why we are using public IP later. So just go with the flow because I want it to be created within next 20 minutes. So that's why VNet gateway public IP. Public IP type is standard, fine. Assignment static. And do you want to keep this in availability zone? As of now, just keep it as only one. Fine. Everything disabled. Next, go to tags. We just filled only this basic tab and went all the things with the default. Just create this. Okay, so this is getting created and it will take somewhere around 20 to 30 minutes for sure. When this is getting done, I will make the setup. See, once this VNet gateway is getting created and you are able to see all the steps, whatever we have performed here, and see. And the next thing is create self-signed root and client certificates. Now try to understand. Have you connected VPN anywhere? No, right? So VPN will be like, I'll show you. Go to VPN settings. This is my VPN, virtual private network. This is my VNet. I want to connect to this. If I simply click on connect, it needs to ask me username and password, right? Without asking, it will never connect, right? I will create two certificates. One is root and the second one is client. I am going to install one certificate in my local system and one certificate to the Azure. So when I am trying to connect, when I try to click on connect, based on my local certificate, it will authenticate to Azure root certificate so that the communication can happen, right? Each and every time I don't have to provide certificate, username and password. Based upon this, it will connect. Understood why we are generating two certificates? Now see this. We are creating two certificates. One is the root certificate and the second one is the client certificate. Which one needs to be installed in the local system? Client system. In the client, that is, I am the client right now. I want to connect to the Azure. So client certificate needs to be installed in the local. So, okay. This is the script to create the certificate. Copy this. Where I need to execute this, is it in PowerShell or command line? PowerShell. So go to PowerShell. So either you can directly paste it here and run it, or else if not, you can even use this. Okay, take Control M. So what is this? This is also PowerShell only. So if you see here, PowerShell IAC is this. This Windows PowerShell is this command line. See this. What is the difference between these two? Whatever the command you execute, it is the same. But here, I have some user interface to copy paste something here and make the modifications here. But here, I cannot have any of these things, right? So just for my user interface, I have taken this. So now you just need to modify some few changes. Just make everything to run in a single line. And if you see here, this is also a symbol. There is a symbol there. Remove it. And just make everything in a single line. That's it. Got it? I made everything in a single line. Whether which certificate it is a root certificate. See the name here. CN equals to certificate name. That is equals to rebel root. So it is trying to create a root certificate. So just select this and run selection. See, root certificate is created. Okay. Till this point it is fine. Root certificate is created. Now what I need to do, I want to create a client certificate also. Copy this. So this is the default script. What it is doing, I will explain. Paste it here and make everything in a single line. If you don't keep them in a single line, what happens is it try to think that it is different commands on each line. So make everything in a single line so that it will take the complete line. Okay. So just click on this 4 so that it will be selecting the complete line and see this. Two is created. One is root certificate, second one is client certificate. So see the script now. They want to create a self-signed certificate. Okay, that means they want to create their own certificate by themselves. What is the type? It is a custom certificate, and they want to keep this as a key specification as a signature based. What is the subject? What is the name of it? I'm going to name this as something like rebel root certificate, and I want to export this key by using exportable policy. And when you are trying to export it, it needs to use a short to 56 code algorithm. Basically, what happens with using short to 56 code is randomly it is going to generate one key for you, and the length of the key should be 2048. And I want to store that certificate under somewhere in this location. Certificate location is go to certificates and current user and whatever it is, there you need to store the certificate. And what is the key usage property type? It is a signature based. And key usage certificate signature. Like the same way we have it for Rebel client also. See this type custom self-signed certificate. Okay, got it. Whatever the value that they have got here, everything they are trying to store it in a variable called set. Understood? So this is default. You don't have to make any changes. So just simply copy it and run it. I have created two certificates. So where the two certificates are stored, I want to know it, right? So go to Windows, click on Cert Manager, manage certificates. Click on yes, and then as of now, what I have done was I created two certificates, root and client. Those two certificates are available in my certificate manager. Whether I created it using personal or remote, see personal. Go to certificates and see, am I able to see the certificates here? No. See, as of now, no certificates are available. Why? Just cancel this. Here I looked on manage computer certificate, manage user certificate. This is what you need to do. Go to personal, go to certificates and see Rebel root and Rebel client. There are four certificates. Which one is the latest one? Look it into the date. You are able to see 2023, right? But today date is 29. So the certificate that I have created is valid for the next 1 year. So that's why it is showing the expiry date as this date. So this one is not required. I'm just going to delete this and I'm going to delete this also. So these are the two dates that I have created today only, right? Okay, these are the two certificates. Now, so the certificates that I have created, I'm able to see here. Now let's go to the root. Click on right click on them, go to all tasks, export them. Where do you want to export? I want to export it to my local system. Click on next. Do you want to export the private key? No, do not export the private key. For the root, do not expose. These are the basic things. Base 64 encoded method. And where do you want to store it? I want to store it under somewhere location. In the desktop, I have a cert location. There I'm going to keep it as rebel root. Okay. I'm going to save it under this desktop. I have a folder called cert folder. There I want to store it as a rebel root certificate. Okay. Click on next and finish. The export was successful. Like the same way, you also need to do it for the client also, right? Go to task. For the client certificate, when you are trying to export, earlier I have used do not export the private key. Now I want to do S export the private key in my client system. So I want to use this. Earlier we have used base 64 encoded method, right? Now we want to use this .bfx method. Now you need to provide some password for it. I'm going to provide password as welcome 8123 and confirm welcome 8123. Just click on this, and where do you want to store it? I want to store it on the desktop cert and rebel client. Understood? Next and finish. I created two certificates. One is root, second one is client. The root certificate I have, the root certificate I have exported, and the client certificate also I exported. But the client certificate I need to install it in my local system, right? So that's why what I have done was I have went into export and I just did the S export the private key. That is how I'm going to install that certificate into my local system. Okay. Now these two are exported and stored in where in my local system. Now let's see. In the local C drive on the desktop, we have a cert folder. This is the cert folder, right? These are the two things that we have exported right now. Let's go to the root. Open with Notepad. You are able to see the certificate, right? By earlier I have showed you some SHA-256 code, right? This is the by using SHA-256 algorithm, it created this password, this key, or the certificate we can call it as. It created the certificate by using the SHA-256 code algorithm. Root is there. Then what about the client? So see this. For rebel root, we have this certificate symbol. But when it comes to the client, see this. It is a log symbol is there, right? You need to install that in your local machine. Yes, I want to install password. It is asking for password. Welcome at 123. Yes, automatically. Just take all the defaults. Import was successful. Done. So client password I just have installed it in my local. But what about the root? I need to upload this root certificate to the Azure. Okay. Let's see whether the resource is created. No, still it is getting created. So that's why I mentioned like it will take 20 minutes for sure. So just do the refresh. So still it is in process. Meanwhile, I will show you the documentation. So two scripts are fine. You have exported and see when you are doing it for the root, you do not export the private key. And when you are doing it, once you keep do not export the private key, you need to select base 64 encoded method. And after that, you can complete the wizard in the PC. And after that, to export the client certificate, you just need to please yes. You just need to press yes, and then PFX is the extension that you need to be installed in the local system. And once it is done, see this. Only root cert will use in Azure VPN. I was saying that root certificate password will be uploaded to the Azure. When I say Azure, it is nothing but Azure VPN. Client certificate can install on the client computer, which need PTS connection. Now understand this. Network was there in Azure. Client certificate we generated, right? So this client certificate, like whoever wants to connect to that machine, they want to have this client certificate installed in their local system. The root certificate will be always there. So you just need to take this client certificate and install in your local system so that you will be able to connect and see. And once the VPN gateway is created, then we need to go to point to set configuration, and then we need to configure it. See, once I showed you a root certificate, right? Copy everything, and you need to paste it here in the VPN gateway. And simply you need to download the VPN client, and then you will be able to install it in your local system. Go to VPN, and then you will be able to connect. Understood, right? What I was trying to do. I'll show you once this is created. I'll show you practically. 14 minutes ago. Still, I think 6 more minutes. Okay. So while this is getting created, we'll ask some few questions. What is the difference between git pull and git fetch? Git pull and git fetch. What is the difference between these two? Hmm. If I use git fetch, okay. What is the difference between git clone and git pull? If you use git pull means you need to explain them, right? They are going to ask you the interview questions like this. What is the difference between git pull and git clone? When you are doing it, when you are trying to set that up for the first time, you use clone. But if you want to get only the changes from the remote to the local, you use git pull. Okay. Okay. What is the difference between app service and app service plan? Okay. Why do we use app service? To host your web applications, we use app services. What is kudu in that? What is kudu? Hmm? Advanced tools, fine, but why we use it? To
edited.
verify whether, yeah, to verify whether the deployment happened properly or not in that location. Or else, if you want to make any changes, you can go to the kudu and make the changes. Okay, and what is deployment slots? Why we use it? To send the traffic. To reduce the downtime, we use deployment slots. Okay. What is swap in that? Swap. You are trying to explain, but that is not an explanation. You are simply giving the one mark answer. I am asking for a summary 8 marks question. You are giving 1 mark answer. Okay, that's fine. And what is the task that I need to use in the release pipeline to make deployments to virtual machine? IAS web app manage, IAS web app deploy. Okay. Apart from IAS web server, what are the other web servers we have in the market? Nginx, Tomcat, yeah, Light HTTPD, all these are other web servers. I installed Nginx on my virtual machine. So in which location I can see that original file? Slash var slash www slash html there. Okay. How can I connect to the remote machine like Windows machine? How can I connect to the remote Windows machine? RDP, remote desktop protocol. Okay. What is the port number for RDP? 30? 6 or 7? 3389. Okay. What is the port number for shell? SSH? 22. What is the port number for HTTP? 80. Okay. What about HTTPS? 443. Okay. How can I transfer the files from my Windows machines to the Linux VMs? In SCP or FileZilla? Okay. How are you authenticate to the Linux machines? How are you authenticating to the Linux machine? Is it using password based or certificate based? Password based. So you haven't seen how to do the certificate based, right? Key based, private key. You know private key? How? Putty private key, PPK file. Okay. I think I have not explained. I'll explain it to you. Okay. So the VNet gateway is created. So let's open this VNet gateway, and this is my VNet gateway. So this is configured. The certificates are ready. Everything is ready. So once if you go to the VNet gateway, you will be able to see point to site configuration. So click on this point to site configuration and configure it now. You need to provide some address space for it. So what kind of address space you can provide? So just go with the documentation. So even you can provide your own address also, just for the communication purpose. So I'll just take this. I'll give one random address like 192.168.0.1, 0.0 by 24. Fine. You need to give some address pool to make the communication happen. What is the tunnel type? Is it OpenVPN, SSN, or something else? This is where it is very important. You are trying to connect to the Azure Virtual Network from your laptop, right? Your laptop is Windows or Mac OS or Ubuntu. So I want this to be connected from any other operating system. So IKEv2 and SSTP protocol. If you want the systems to be only connected from Windows, IKEv2. If you want it to be connected only from Ubuntu, SSTP. Like these are some other kinds, but in real time, you understood the point, right? So it will be like IKEv2 and SSTP protocol. What is the authentication type? In that, which one you want me to select? Certificate based, radius authentication, or Active Directory? Because you have created certificates only. Okay. Name of the root certificate. I am going to keep it as Rebel root. The root certificate password we need to have, right? So it is on cert location, and this is the Rebel root. Open that with the notepad. So certificate will begin from here, right? I'm just going to copy all this till this, copy, and see this. You have copied on extra space. Make sure that you avoid those kind of mistakes. Copy. This is the certificate, and just save this. This also will take 5 to 10 minutes. So whatever the changes that you make here, it will take 5 to 10 minutes to reflect the changes. So once you uploaded this root certificate, then you will be able to get this option highlighted. Then you need to download that and download it, extract it, and install it in the local system. Then you will be able to connect to this VNet. Now I have a question. We downloaded it and we connected to the Azure VNet. How can you say that you are connected? I'm able to see that it is connected. How can you prove it? No. I will give you one simple. Earlier you have two VMs. I want to, I have done peering. How did you ping the other VM? By logging in, first I logged into the VM1, and by taking the private IP of the second VM, I was able to log in into the second VM. Now tell me the scenario here. It shows that I was able to connect to the private network. So once it is connected, I can create a VM from this VNet, and I can be able to connect to this VM by using private IP or not. If it is allowing me to connect to the private IP, that means I am already inside the network. So for that we need to have a VM, right? So I'll try to create a VM from this. You understood the point, right? If it shows that it is connected, that means I'm inside the VNet. So I can create a VM from the VNet, and I can access the VM through the private IP itself, but not the public IP. No necessary of the public. Like there is no need of public IPs in that. So I want to create a virtual machine. Hmm. Already all these things are there. I think we need to remove them, some of them. So we need to delete them. Okay. Will you guys do this? Again, I need to do this. Again, I need to do this cleaning work. I need to create a new VM again. Will you guys do that? What I want you to do is create a VM. But when you are creating the VM, what I want you to do is select the VNet that you created. I'll show you. So you will specify all these things, right? Go to networking concept, and here select the VNet that you created. Like earlier, what is the VNet that I created? My VNet point to site something. So in that, select the default subnet and create it. The VM will be created. Once after created, you need to connect to the VM, right? So let's see. This is the VM that we created just now. Let's think like this. Earlier, you used to connect to this VM using public IP, but take the private IP. Take this private IP, do the MSTSC. Give the private IP, username and password, and let's see whether you are able to connect to that VM or not. Okay, so let's see whether this is done. Yes, we have uploaded the root certificate. Download the VPN client. Earlier I just did this and saved, right? Saved, right? Yeah. Yeah. So to download this .zip file, it might take 30 seconds for you. And once it is downloaded, go to the downloads. You will be able to see the .zip file here. My VNet gateway, right? Before extracting and making any changes, earlier already we have some VPN settings, right? I will delete all them. All of them I am going to delete because I don't want to make it confused for you. So this is there, right? I'll remove this. I am going to remove this also. So I have removed all the things. Now let's go here. I want to extract this. Extract all. Yes, in the same location, extract all the files. So this is the new file. Yes. Which one is your operating system? Windows 64. In that you will be able to see one setup file. Install this file in your local system. Here you will be able to see don't run. So click on more info, you will get the run anyway. Microsoft will try to block you from installing other software. So you just need to click on more info and run anyway. Already running. Okay. Is it running in the background? Okay. Let's see. I'll just try to rerun because I haven't seen that. Do you wish to install VPL client for point to set VNet? Yes. And I think it is done. Let's go to VPL. See PTS VNet. Now I want to connect, right? Click on connect. See, click on to connect to the begin connecting. Yes, connect. Yes, continue. Yes, whatever it asks, everything is connect. Verifying the password for Rebel client. Running the script. See, it shows that it is connected. Now, once you are connected to this VNet, what I want you guys to do is go to the portal. You created one VM from that VNet, right? So connect to that VM using private IP. Once you are connected or once you are inside the VNet, what I want you guys to do is disconnect this VPN so that the VM also gets disconnected, right? So I want you guys to do this. So this is very easy and I want you guys to do it. I have shown you point to site. I want you guys to do site to site also. So you can get the documentation also and you can achieve this. But when it comes to site, there is a extra one more service. That one more service is called local network gateway. What it represents. As of now, the connection is from my laptop to the Azure VNet. But when did you use site to site? If my complete on-premises wants to connect with Azure network, then it is a site to site. Now you need to have on-premises, right? Do we have the office? Somehow we need to represent it. So for that purpose, we need to have one more service called local network gateway. This represents your on-premises network. So you can connect from this local network gateway to the Azure VPN, and you can see how the connection established between these two. This is a one-time process. I'm not sure whether you are going to do this in the real time or not, but while before you go, this will be already set up. So, but in interviews, they are going to ask you questions about this. You need to have an understanding about this. See this, create a local network gateway to represent the on-premises. We want to show, right, this is my on-premises. To show that, we need to use this local network gateway. So I want you guys to look for the information about site to site also. So documentation also they have provided to create site to site connectivity. Based upon those steps, you can create the site to site connectivity. Express route you cannot do anything in the practical because you need to call your beam or like Hathway or anyone and they need to give you a private link. To achieve that, it will take 7 days or 10 days. So please ignore it. Okay.